me. Before we get started, do you have any questions, anything you want to get into before we hit the go button here?
Yes, I have two questions.
Shoot.
So, as far as the first one, in this, I just kind of feel like, yeah, I'm engaging better with my team because that was like my focal point, right?
Yep.
And I'm trying not to peek and take unnecessary poke damage and just like like I was
Mm-hmm.
doing the last time,
You don't want to get poked out while staging. Yep.
right? And so on that, I know my bubble like management is not the best right now because the focus right now is for me to like engage with my
Sure.
team, and I have to put so much like mental into it, you know.
Totally fine. Yep.
And the second thing is that I got my wife into playing Overwatch, and I was thinking about buying like 4 passes so that way she's bronze.
Sure.
Uh, if like she could like get some pointers for Mora, like if I pay for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's totally
Cool, cool,
fine.
awesome.
Gifting stuff, donating stuff, splitting packs, never, none of that bothers me in the slightest. So by all
Okay,
means. So
right
that's
on. Because
go ahead.
she she's very competitive, you know. She wants to
Mm-hmm.
improve, and like I could try to give her like some pointers, but like I don't know, like
Don't.
you know
It's
the
easier on the
specifics.
relationship if you don't.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
All right, cool, awesome.
Cool, cool. Okay, so here you are. The bubble use will go a little easy on, but my question for you is going to be: so you're saying it's taking a lot of mental strain to get your engagement timings right, and that's normal. That's
Yeah.
good. But I want to know: does it feel like it's getting easier? Does it feel like, hey, I've sort of got this now? Because that's something that you're going to keep improving on forever in Overwatch. But it's sort of a: does it feel like it's hit the next sort of tier yet? And that's ill-defined. But does it feel like it's getting better? Because at some point it'll stop being your biggest problem and we'll want to move on to something like bubbles, which doesn't mean you'll stop paying attention to it completely, but it means
Right.
we want to free up that mental space for something else in your new default to sort of be at a higher level. We feel like we're getting there or not yet?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely feel like I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm also using comms more and letting them
Okay.
know when I hard engage and to push in with me.
That
Or
definitely helps. Yep.
and if they're not like, vocal, I tend to like look back before I, walk in or
Okay.
push it.
Okay. Good stuff.
Time to check the to-do list.
So, do you guys actually run a bastion?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
It
not
was
my,
nice knowing you. You don't have
not my
control of it.
choice.
Yeah, no, I get it. I was just curious if this was real. You have a widow at least. That's nice. It's fine. I would have preferred you turn to deal with the Tracer rather than the Winston immediately here. I mean, this isn't a super big deal, but just as we go here, totally fine for you to go, hey, I'm going to tank trade here, we have a poke heavy comp, etc. But as soon as you see this Tracer, I see the Diva, I see that the Diva's discorded, I like the desire to be on that, but you just
Yeah,
have to know that, hey, it's Tracer, and you've got to drive off Tracer's fast. You're annoying to Tracer because you're reliable damage, but Tracer is also annoying to you because, you're a tank and she does lots of damage, high spread with her weapon, etc. So, like, you do want to pivot, find her quickly, etc., because she clearly didn't leave. This is just her
right.
blinking out of your way. So I'd prefer you get back on her. Yeah, so right there. And yeah, you just sort of try to force your way past her, and she's going to shred you pretty quick. Like, almost all of this
Yeah,
damage you've taken is from Tracer. There's the second clip, Tracer. Yeah, this is
yeah,
just not
rough.
something we can ignore. And do you see what their comp is now? I mean, you can see because the game's unlocked. Do you now recognize what their comp is?
Yeah, they have a
Okay.
Zen,
Well,
and
it's
like so
not.
I
Go ahead.
well with the Zen, I have to play more carefully because if they like discord me, I get
Sure.
shredded.
Sure. So how do you think you want to play into this comp? What do you think your goal is? Because they're a full dive comp, whereas you're really more of a poke heavy comp, right?
Right. So I kind of want to like reverse peel.
Mm-hmm.
Like when their Genji dashes in, I want to like, deter that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or if they dive us and then
Mm-hmm.
like maybe their Zen or their Ana's out of position or she doesn't have her cooldown of sleep, then I can like dive her and try to secure a pick or put pressure so they don't get healed.
You can,
Um,
you can. I think you're gonna have a tough time taking down their Zen or Mercy. Truth be told, or no, excuse me, their Zen
Ana.
or Anna. You could. They don't have great peel. You're right. They went greedy in that they took both of those. I do think you're actually going to want to play the more peel heavy game. But my question to you in playing the more peel heavy game is, what do you play the peel heavy game? If your job right now is to protect your bastion and your backline, effectively to protect your DPS and your supports from their DPS and tanks, where do you go to do that?
Like are we talking positioning or like who I should focus on like protecting?
No, I'm talking about relative positioning.
Like high
Like,
ground?
do you protect your bastion effectively by standing right here next to the bastion in case the tracer shows up, or do you protect your bastion by being here, making it harder for the Genji to stage?
Making it harder for them to stage.
Exactly. So it's the reverse about what we were talking about for you last time, where hey, you want to be able to dive on things, so you want to get into staging positions, and you don't want to take chip damage before you stage. You're now in a situation where your health sort of matters, but the health that really matters is sort of your backline here. So you go, hey, I want to be standing here, where if the Genji tries to show up, if the Genji tries to get into a position where he can dive, he can't. On his way in, he's going to get chipped down a little by me, and then you'll peel back, etc. So that's what we're looking for.
Right.
Okay, good. Good, good.
Damage output increased.
And I think our widow was saying that like Tracer was on her or something, so
Okay.
that's why I'm looking that way.
Yeah, that's fine. So, okay, we can live with this. Why are you jumping here? Were you just late on your jump? Let me check that one more time. This I get. I feel like you definitely leaped after he'd already... I know you leaped
Yeah.
after he'd already dashed, but that's fine. And there's no mega there for you to grab, so I'm just a little confused a bit. I don't actually like this, because what are you going to be able to do with this bubble? Just tickle back and forth with their Winston while you're discorded? Like, you're just going to lose, right?
Right, yeah.
So
So
you...
like
Go ahead.
so like I used the bubble here and then I realized like because I didn't want to get discorded, but I wasn't quick enough. And then I
Yep.
realized like there's 3 of them here. I'm not gonna win this, so I want to get out.
Yep.
Uh,
So the correct thing, like this bad jump just happened, and that's fine. But your
Yeah.
correct move was actually to just immediately go here and wait for your next health back. Like even if you get discorded, you just go here and wait, not your next health back, your next jump back, and then you just wait effectively. And if they try to walk their people past, you're still sort of zoning out your team, protecting them from this direction, because like the Zen can't take this angle, the Genji can't take this angle, and once you have jump pack back, then you can go, hey, I'm going to go in, or I'm going to go across back to my team. So we wanted to... Ooh. Just go here, that way we could have preserved our bubble, right?
Right.
Cool.
And then I see Anna here.
Yeah, you do. She's probably going to sleep you if you jump her, but I see her. Fine. Good, good. And you're going to finish it. Maybe? Good.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, so your team's gone. We can live with that. We just had a bad jump to start there, and then, you know, it sort of cascaded, and your team didn't have your help. Not a big deal.
Excuse me
Okay. Little soft dive to clear them. I can live with that. Okay.
No one can hide from my sight.
That's better. That's teamwork.
Okay.
Very rough.
Weird. Not a place we should be finding the Zen at this point, but hey.
Unfortunate. Barrier activated.
I mean, you don't need this bubble. Again, we've talked about that. That's, yeah.
And then at this point, I heard the sleep and Ball called out that she was low.
Perfect. Perfect. It's exactly what you want to do. You want to go, hey, I can jump you without my bubble because I heard you wasted sleep, or my teammate told you you wasted sleep, etc. So where should you be going now?
High ground.
Good. Okay.
This will protect us.
Then I
Are you
thought I
trying
could like
to?
body block.
Yeah, so locking is good, but locking is good for very short-term periods when your team can take advantage of it. Like this is a legit play that you're making here. It's just not a legit play in this situation. And the reasons for that are a couple. Do you have your team in here ready to crush these two in here in the next second?
No.
Right. So really, you're just letting a diva go, oh, you're going to stand still for me and I get to use my shotgun style weapon at point blank range into your crit hitbox? Don't mind if I do. Right? Like she does way more damage than you at this range, which is okay.
Yeah.
You can go, hey, I'm going to let you do that if you have 4 teammates in here, 3 teammates in here that are just, going to go, hey, we're quickly going to win this 4v2, this 5v2, etc. Totally fine. To locking is a legitimate strategy. If you were like, a couple meters from closing the checkpoint, yeah, you could go, nope, I'm locking this. I am not letting this diva in, even though I am taking a beating, etc. Totally fine. Locking is a real strategy, but you just need to be aware of, hey, it's a very short-term strategy, and what are you getting out of that 1 to 2 seconds that you can buy? And right now, the answer is nothing, so it's not worth doing.
Makes sense.
So we know where this primal was used, but
Right.
now what are we going to get out of our primal?
Yeah. I see.
No, it's fine. Like I get why the primal was used, and I don't mind that the primal was used. Like, hey, the primal was used to save your life, and if it's still a winnable team fight, that can be a valid use because instead of using the ult to go up 1 or go up 2, you're using the ult to not go down 1, and that's valid. That's what you'd use a support ult for in some situations. So I'm not overly complaining about that. I'm just looking at it and going, hey, you've got 10 seconds of primal. What do you plan to do with it? Like, because you have to decide right now what you plan to do with this ult.
Right. I guess like my thought process was like sustain, right? Keep myself up, like you said, and then put pressure on Diva. And I got lucky that the Genji managed to be inside there, so I could like get him.
Yep.
But like I didn't have that in mind, when I popped Primal.
Okay. So I don't mind if you pop Primal to save yourself, but I want you within 1 second to sort of know what you're going to do with it. Because 10 seconds, it's long, but it's not that long. And honestly, denying the Genji's blade is a perfectly valid use. You can go, hey, the Genji just got a McCree elimination. The Genji's blade is out. Let me go make sure he doesn't do any more work with his blade. Totally a valid use of Primal. But do you know where the Genji is, or is this just, hey, I'm knocking the diva because she's she's right in front of me?
Yeah, it's the second one.
Okay, that's fine. So my preference would be you go, hey, I know where the Genji is, so I'm going to go to the Genji, which I'm fine with. Or, hey, I have a primal, it gives me super mobility. Let me hoppity and try to go mess with the Ana or the Zen. If I know where those are, and hey, the Zen, by the way, was right here for elimination.
Yeah.
That's a game sense thing. How many people are you tracking? How many do you mentally know where they are?
This will protect us.
On my way. Right there.
Yeah, and you've correctly determined that your team's effectively out of this fight. They may have not determined that yet, but you have.
That's teamwork.
Yep. DPS first. You can obviously take the diva when it's the only thing here.
I'm here. Hello.
Okay. Fine.
No one can hide from my sight.
Free. Good use of eyes there.
Survival of the fittest.
And you're just going to drag the orb now. That's fine.
My thanks. Payload stalled.
Okay, you have bubble. I'll accept it.
Barrier up.
Probably a touch early on the bubble. No, you're avoiding the Discord. Fine. And now you can leave. Okay.
Weapon system optimized.
I don't really like this.
Mhm.
This, yes, you have a minefield, but you've jumped into a place where you're sort of in the middle of what is the, enemy team space, and you don't really have anywhere you could go, and you don't have cooldowns, right? Like, you just
Right.
used Leap to get in. So my preference would honestly have been, I don't know if you saw this supports retreat this way, but my preference would honestly have been just jump up on top of here. Even being up on top of here gives you a little more protection, a little more ability to go in different directions, would have actually let you potentially pressure these supports if you wanted to. But this is a better location. Anytime you can get even a little bit of height is going to, be a little better protection against a lot of things than just sort of jumping out into the open here. I mean, you also could have gone deeper and jumped up to like here, etc. Tried to jump up after the widow, but I don't really like you here because honestly, this widow should just dink you right now. But we'll see what happens.
I need help.
Barrier up.
Okay. Okay. You're wasting a little too much ammo here.
Weapon
So not like this.
optimized.
This is just you jumping as tempo. Doesn't have a target. I mean, you're sort of trying to pursue the Winston, but it's not enough.
I need help.
Right.
Barrier up.
That's because you're worried about the sleep dart. I'm fine. This is fine too. Good. You've no longer got her locked. Your Tesla will not continue to reach her. Stop shooting Tesla until you get closer. Still not hitting her. Still not
I
hitting
got too
her.
greedy there.
Yep. You did get a little too greedy there. Like, you didn't have the tools to continue to pursue her. She grappled even if it wasn't a very good grapple to get away. And you're actually more scary to her. If, as soon as she's out, you're actually more scary to her. Just going, nope, I'm going to hold this. I'm going to let the Discord drop, and she can't come back up here. And that's annoying
Yeah.
to her. Like, it's literally annoying to her that she can't come back up here, and then when you feel like it, jump over here and do work.
Yeah, that would have been more value, right? Because like
Yep.
I'm not letting her. She wasted her cooldowns, right? And I'm not
Mhm.
letting her contribute to the fight. And then I also keep my, my cooldowns, my life, and I could, contest the supports. And seeing this, I see such a, how big of a mistake it was. It's
Yep.
just
It happens, and it's not a big deal. But what's going to happen is you're going to pursue her, and even if even if neither of you really eliminate the other here, what's going to happen, I imagine, is she's going to SMG you down a little bit, and she's going to get you down, say, another 100 health because you're discorded, and then she knows you can't really threaten her anymore at that point because she can just eliminate you anytime she comes in at you. Whereas you with 300 that clears the discord, she just can't come back here. Like, she can't do it until she knows that you've gone somewhere else.
yeah.
Yep. Fine.
I feel great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of what we're talking about. That's fine.
My jam.
Heroes never die.
Soft dive it again. You're fine. Disappointing. Okay.
Feeling unstoppable.
No one can hide on my sight.
Okay. What are your thoughts about your primal there?
So I was trying to primal to like secure the kill on the Genji after I picked up the Zen. I was trying to use primal to like win the objective by pushing them off the payload if I had to.
Okay.
But I saw the opportunity to get a couple of kills, a couple of picks.
Okay.
The Anna one, she kind of just walked into it, and I wasn't, didn't even know she was there. So in terms of
Sure,
awareness there,
sure, that's fine. That's actually surprising to me. I thought you were sort of blending two purposes with your primal here. I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking that you're probably going, hey, I'm going to primal because I want to, it makes sure, because this is a coin flip. This Genji versus you, one of you is going to go down at this point.
yeah,
And I figured you were using it, hey, I have 100 life, this Genji might get me, etc. I figured that's part of what was going on. But I'm actually okay with it, even though you are winning this fight, because, hey, you could have gone down here. B, you get things done with it. C, you're right on top of their spawn. So even, another person going down here is a pretty big deal. So I'm good with that. I just like to, mix in questions where the answer. Yeah.
yeah. And then I know I engaged on the Zen here, but I knew he got bad spawn, and I saw that as an opportunity, and I knew my Lucio was with me.
Your team is going to support you on this. I'm totally fine with you committing on this Zen, even though you don't have your bubble, but you should probably have your bubble. And what I mean by that is...
Barrier up.
Yeah,
that was probably to say, hey, I don't want to get discorded, but that's not quite enough justification to drop your bubble. Like, if you're going, hey, I don't want to get discorded and I'm here, sure, because you're also going to fight him. If you're just going, I don't want to get discorded, that's not quite enough. You can just slide over here and keep doing work and he's not going to hit you. Like, you'll be discorded, but he's not going to hit you, etc. So please don't use this bubble just to prevent a discord when you're not in a position you want to occupy for a few more seconds.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm operating at optimal levels.
Group up. Let's group up here.
Damage increase.
Now that's teamwork.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Okay.
Time to raise my
This
DPM.
seconds.
You can live with it.
Escorting the payload.
I saw the Genji use his dash, so I went for it. I thought I was going to be able to pick up Mega, but I didn't. And
so we can rewatch it, but I look at this, and you have your ball over there. You're trying to help your ball. Your ball's got fine health. I don't have an issue with this. You lost tracking on Genji for a moment there. You've still got 400 health. You're dropping, expecting to get the Mega, and you just get chunked down too hard. This wasn't poor decision making. This was reasonable.
Enemy seen. This is not your target.
Thanks, Dr. Ziegler.
Good. Don't follow her. Don't follow her. Okay. You can follow her. You have the beat. Words are hard. Primal. You're going to take the Zen with it or Force Trans. Yep. You can try to bat him away, but it's tough when he's a race car.
yeah.
So far your self-analysis is correct in that bubbles are the thing that are looking sort of weakest in your gameplay right now, which is good. I'm glad that your self-analysis is catching that.
Initiating. Ready for battle.
Hello. Hola.
Hello.
Ready for battle.
Hey there.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Feel the healing beat.
Stop the payload.
So it's okay to play here. I actually do like playing a little more here because it becomes a, hey, you effectively end up having to do the tank trading, the battling, etc. to prevent them from coming in. Because control of this flank does sort of matter. It's, it can be a little annoying because, hey, if something really bad shows up here, you might have to force your way through it to get out, etc. But I do generally find it to be relatively worth to try and hold this corridor.
Yeah.
now you should be free to drop on their backline.
The pain is
Barrier activated.
Interesting.
Yeah, I got greedy. I shouldn't have used my leap.
Well, it's not so much, yes, that's true, but more what I get into is this timing was perhaps a little late because I think your team is already getting pushed back a touch here. I get you were fighting the Winston for most of the time until this, so I'm just talking about a second earlier. But even though she's a 150 HP target, I probably want the Zen. Like, the Zen is what's really making this fight so scary, and the Zen is sort of closer to my bubble, etc. Like, I look at this and go, hey, I'd love to eliminate the Diva. If I've got help, I definitely eliminate the Diva. But especially when this comes in, you almost get her. She gets the Harmony Orb. I mean, if you land this, you do get the elimination, but you just went too deep with this jump in general. This really needed to be a jump right here because that would have been enough. Whichever way she wandered, that would have been enough, and then you wander right back into here. But that's fine. We'll deal. And she just kites you for too long, and the Harmony Orb puts her back out of lethal range. Unfortunate.
Hello.
Excuse me for dropping in.
Okay, you're looking to peel. Fine.
This will protect us.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you guys are just gonna feed ult, stopping, trying to stop cart here. You're not gonna turn this, but okay. The preference would have been to just reset Denim and let them have it, and then not have people at this bad spawn, etc. But
Yeah.
Excuse me for dropping in.
beacon in place. Heroes never die.
what are you gonna do with this primal?
Try to keep the blade away,
Okay.
but I don't. Yeah, I didn't.
You didn't hear him use it, or you didn't think that at the time?
I didn't react fast enough. In hindsight, I should have, but at this point, I was kind of like, I guess, nervous and stuff. Because like I said, I think on this half right here, I feel like my engagement timing is very sloppy and very poor.
Okay.
Um,
I don't think you've had much choice with your engagement timing so far. Like, if you look at this, you're coming back. That was just a fight that we shouldn't have taken, but your team was probably going to take it anyways, so I get that you went in.
Excuse me for
And now, sort of as a result of that, and as a result of you being one of the last ones in, you're taking space here.
Beacon in place.
This isn't really an engagement on your part. This is you going, hey, I'm going to hold my space, etc. And you're right. If your team is just absolutely nowhere to be found, you could back off, etc. But this isn't really you committing to a fight. This is you tank trading. This is you holding a bit of space that you think belongs to your team, etc. So I don't really think you're making an engagement timing here. But even if you are, your team is in play enough that I got no issue with it. Because the only people you're playing with are these tanks, and your backline. Well, yeah, I'm not super worried about this one.
Heroes never die.
Yeah, so there's the blade. And he sort of got away with that before you popped Primal, which happens. Take the baby at least. Fine. Look at all this juicy health you're going to bring back to your supports.
Thanks, you have my thanks.
Loving this. Yeah,
My ultimate is ready. Hello, hello. Valkyrie is charging. EMP charged.
Good. Oh, nice of her to drop that in your bubble for you. She's hacked, okay.
Barrier up.
this. You go here.
Barrier up.
I mean, this is probably you've got two options here, right? Your option is you either think this team fight is lost and you go, oh, hey, I'll just go to get to card immediately, or I'll stay behind the enemy team and I'll take my engage when my team is back, in which case you should already be gathering health packs, going, hey, I'm going to stay back here. I want to have health to engage from behind when my team is ready to take the second fight on second. Or you go, hey, I think we're still in this, in which case I still think you go grab this mini. Like, I think this becomes a case of, ooh, hey, I'll go grab this mini, and then I'll come right back out here, and I've been gone for 3 seconds, so they won't still be looking back here. But you go this way, the Sombra sees you, and because the Sombra saw you leaving, she's immediately looking at you when you jump here, and yeah. That was always going to be hard, but you effectively needed to... Once you could tell she saw you, the answer wasn't to jump. It was to go, okay, I'm out again, and unless you just go, hey, I'm just jumping to try to get to point to try to slow down point. It was, hey, I'm gonna collect health packs and circle and things like this, and then I'll come back as part of the real engage with my team. But that's fine.
Re-engaging. Re-engaging.
Okay. We see where your Roadhog is. We heard their Winston up there. We see their Zen. We hear the hack going off. This is fine. It's not the high ground control that we'd like. We'd have liked to go up here and take this for ourselves and potentially battle the Winston a bit, but this is fine. We can do it. This is less good. Why is this less good?
Right here, my positioning is exposed. I get discorded. I'm battling Winston, which isn't the battle I should be taking.
Mm-hmm. Right. We don't really want to be battling Winston anymore. Battling Winston when we're heavy peeling for our team is fine. Like, it's okay to tank trade with Winston during the staging. It's actually okay to be peeling Winston. Like, if you're going, hey, I'm peeling Winston from here, where his opponents can't see me, to help keep him off my McCree, to let my McCree take him down faster, that's actually fine. You can do that. He's not a very high priority target, but you can totally do that. But you don't want to be exposing your whole backside to the enemy team. Like, you've put yourself you've put yourself just in the backline's line of fire, and it's why you go down so fast here. Yeah. Are you going to get out or not? Okay. If you're not going to get out, cart's generally where you want to go, and I didn't think you were going to get out, but that's fine. You only would have been able to delay cart for like literally half a second. Most of that time was free cart move on their part anyway.
I was thinking on that, I should have possibly just jumped off, so that way I don't feed 500. Ult charge.
That is a very common thing to do and perfectly valid, yes. You're a little late if the plan was to help him out here. That's okay. Yeah, so you guys are just sort of getting a little snowballed. You're sort of letting yourself be baited into a bad engage. If you wanted to help him, it was sort of now, right? Like, we're sort of in a, hey, this is it. Now he's in a 2v1. Now it's really a 2.5v1. And you're like, hey, now I'm going to go up here. Excuse me, he's too far behind. You're unable to be able to help him, and now you've compromised your position. This is a predictable outcome. And again, if we're primaling, that's not the end of the world, but you probably want to go find a target that's more interesting than D.Va immediately. That's wrong. We'll talk about primals. Now that you're giving me a real one, sort of. Get her away twice. Then you waste some time in here. No. You see how you swung at her before you landed?
Yeah.
You weren't going to land right on top of her, but you were going to land pretty close. Let's say you'd have gotten not 50 landing damage, not 45 landing damage, but let's say you'd have gotten 25 landing damage, right?
Right.
That's the thing. Instead, you swung, and I think your swings in Primal do 40 damage, so you got 40 damage instead of 25 plus 40.
Right.
That's a difference because you swung before you landed. The land will knock her a little bit, but it probably would have knocked her a little bit into the wall. That's pretty contained. You're still going to be able to hit that pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
And you can also hit really close to when you land. You can hit like right as you land, etc., like just after you land, etc. And they haven't had time to be knocked very far away yet. So you've denied yourself about 25 damage. This would probably be better. This might be 30 damage right here, except you hit her with your hand again. So you don't get your landing damage again. So, now we've missed out on 55 damage, and we can't really burst her down through a Harmony Orb if we're just jumping at her and swinging, right? Because, hey, we're doing 40 per swing, we jump every 1.5 seconds. If we're not getting any landing damage and she's got 30 healing per second and we're doing 40 damage every 1.5 seconds, we just can't win, right?
Yeah, I see that.
Sure. So, primals are tough. The things I would say here is if you could find, well, Dezen was in trans, so I have no issue with you having gone after her, but this becomes a thing where it matters, and it's not like the most important thing to get primal control as Winston, but to actually make his ult really have value, you do need it. So you got up to, what, 3,100 now? That's where you're playing?
Yeah.
So it is about time for you to learn primal controls. Like primal control, really being able to do the, hey, I land, and as something is getting booped a little bit by my land, I hit it with my hand. And you can really practice that on bots. You can go, hey, I'm going to set up a thing, and I'm going to devote 10 hours or 5 hours or whatever to this over the next month, over the next 2 weeks, over whatever. And then after that, like half an hour a week should do it for you. And you can literally just set up a bunch of different 200 HP heroes as a preset. You save it and you make it so that you charge ult super fast. And that's what I'd recommend doing. Like it is something that really does help your Winston play to go, no, this is an ult that I can actually force eliminations with. Would it have made any difference here? Absolutely not. But I can see you're doing it wrong, so we're talking about it.
Sounds good.
Oh, Hammond. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I get it. Never feels good playing Stall Hammond into Sombra, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Ready for battle.
Oh, you got your Winston swiped. Okay.
Hello.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Overloaded.
Move the payload secure.
Escort the payload.
Good. No, don't repeat. Don't re... Okay, you see the issue with the repeat, right?
Right, I'm still discorded.
Yep, you were close, but you hadn't quite wiped it.
I think I booped her to safety.
It happens, but yes.
Yeah.
And then it's unfortunate, but there was just a diva eating all of your shots, so this quickly becomes a, I'm just going to drop because I don't want to be here anymore type thing. But hey, not a big deal.
Hello, join me.
30 seconds remaining.
There's no way I'm losing. Attack.
Payload's moving again. Healing food. Payload's moving out.
just soft dived a little too hard there. Not a big deal, but if we're looking at this, you're basically just trying to soft dive to sort of clear things. And you just have to go, hey, I do have roughly full health here. I do this. I do a little bit of this. I'm getting. You're just chipped too hard. There's the Discord, etc. These need to be very baby soft dives. It's like, hey, I go up here, etc., and I come back down. I go up here, etc., and I come back down because you just don't have any support on it, and there's too much up here still. But it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you lost like 450 health in a second there. It's just tough.
Yeah, it was crazy. I wasn't expecting that.
Discord is a scary thing, man.
Yeah, I'm glad that the nerf, but I wish like we had a Zen,
Ah,
make our
wouldn't that be
dives
something?
so much better.
It really would. Okay, this is just junk time. Okay, and let's see how you set up for your 3-minute hold. Oh, Orisa, okay.
But I will see them.
Yeah, we decided to go a little bit more tanky in composition
Sure.
because we figured they were gonna have dive again because that's what
Yep.
they've been running the entire game.
Sure, that's fine.
Recommend moving behind my barrier. Understood. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload. Don't move.
I don't really like that hold.
Me neither. I don't really like Orisa, but
Okay, that's fair.
we do what we can to win.
Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. Okay, you need to be... Yeah, there you go.
At this point, we call to rotate back.
Yep. Fine, better halt. And now you have the unfortunate paradigm of having to hold from server. Oh, where are we holding from?
We're gonna retake
Okay.
to like get some. The plan was to get some poke damage.
Barrier activated.
We see the diva, so we all decided to like engage on her.
Yeah, no, I got no issue with so far what I'm seeing.
This will heal you. Thank you.
You can't really stay here. I hope you don't. I hope you don't. Okay, you're retaking high ground again. Fine.
Ultimate reaching maximum charge. Please move behind the barrier.
Surrender to my will.
Please move behind the barrier.
Surrender to my will.
The payload is approaching its
Yeah,
destination.
okay. Use that. You're down to 240 health. You have no armor and no fortify. Why are you still walking
Yeah.
forward?
Yeah, I should have backed.
Yep. All good. Especially because you had your ult. You're one of the pieces that your team is counting on to rotate through this, but not a big deal. I mean,
Installing updates.
the round might be over, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And we're fine. No. You don't need to play from there. Like, you have plenty of space on the cart. You don't need your barrier down there. You threw your barrier into a place that A, your team didn't want to use, B, they can shoot at when you can't shoot at them.
Right.
Cease your resistance.
So, I don't like this, but what do I want you to do with your fortify now? Nope. This is not
Walk
it.
forward.
Yes. Why do I want you to walk forward?
That way I can kind of preserve my shield
Yes.
and tank with the majority of my gold, my armor.
Yep.
That way I can kind of manage my cooldowns better
Yes,
and
exactly.
have my shield.
Have a little left after your fortify's over. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you're just gonna do the best you can to protect the supercharger with your body. Fine.
Yeah, I think I should have put the supercharger like out of line of sight of the enemy,
Yep.
like around the
I would
corner
have
or
preferred
something.
that. I literally would have just been like,
Yeah.
hey, look, it's a supercharger, and your team would be fine figuring out how to play around that. Or if you have to, hey, look, it's a supercharger, not quite as good. This one's better, but yeah.
Yeah.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Scary.
Yeah.
You can pass there, but hey. Good.
Surrender to my will.
You say there's no way you don't hold on to this. Okay, good. So
Felt like we cheesed it.
what's
I
that?
wanted to win. I wanted to win with Winston here,
Sure,
but
sure.
felt like we had to cheese it.
So your offense was pretty fine with Winston. Your defense, I don't quite want to call it engagement timings, but I guess we can call it engagement timings, where effectively you're rejoining fights sort of that you're already behind on, and there was probably a place where you needed to just pull the band-aid off. Like if we go through this, you are sort of feeling a little rushed coming back and, taking this fight, etc., right? Like there's no
Right.
fight here. And then that sort of leaves you in okay, well, I'm sort of last person back, so I'm doing this. And this I was actually okay with. Might have been a touch early, might have been hey, my backline isn't quite lined up yet to do work, might have been a touch early, but this I'm mostly okay with. But then you have the hey, I'm coming back into a fight, and oh, they're over here, so let me do this, and you get eliminated. And then again, sort of the you're late to make your decision, I'm going to help my Reaper here. And it's like, I'm actually fine if you hang your Reaper out to dry here, or I'm fine if you help your Reaper here. I'm not fine with you waiting 2 seconds and then helping your Reaper here. It's sort of like, that's where it's sort of like we have to be. It's a pacing thing specifically on your defense. It's a little easier to understand on offense. On offense, it's a little more okay. We'll go set our fights exactly when we want to. On defense, it's like, oh, the cart's coming against us. That's scary. We're losing time. They're getting progress, etc. But it still just becomes a no. We've lost this fight. If we give it up, we will get a stronger earlier fight here. Okay, we've, not necessarily we've lost this, but I'm coming back. Let me take a second to appraise the situation before I decide where I'm going to contribute, where I'm the respawning agent effectively. Like, let me just take a second and be like, do I know what's going on? I do. I could fight this Winston. That's fine. Oh, but the Zen and Ana over there? Okay, I'll fight the Winston over here. Or, oh, but the Zen and Ana over there? I'll block them off while my team fights the Winston. Whatever it's going to be. But, this is not the right decision. And again, okay, I'll take a second to decide if I should help my Reaper or not. That's fine. But that second has decided for me that I now shouldn't help my Reaper, which is a fine decision. So that's sort of where you're going with some of this stuff. And then I would say the other thing is let's make sure that once you use your primal, you have a plan on using your primal. Like if we brought this down to 3 things, it would sort of be hey, don't just rush headlong back into engagements when you're a respawn. Take a second to appraise and like try to make better decisions. And I can tell you're a cerebral enough player that you can make better decisions. Like you can make better decisions. I'm not worried that if you give yourself a second, you're going to make fine decisions. So I'd say let's try and do that. The other things I'd say is that your bubble usage needs work. We can go into how to use bubble, why to use bubble, and I'm happy to do that, but I think you know what pieces of your bubble usage use work. So by all means, stop me if that's a wrong assumption, though. Like I'm happy to spend time on it. Okay.
You're right.
And then the third thing I'd get into is, hey, you should go learn primal mechanics, but I wouldn't say that that's like the biggest thing. It wouldn't have made much of a difference in this match, it looks like, but it's really good to have in your back pocket. But the other thing about Primal that I am going to say is as soon as you pop that Primal, you're mostly popping Primal in situations where you're sort of forced into it. You'll pop your Primal more to go for eliminations. Once you have those Primal mechanics, you just will because you'll know what you can do with it. But the other thing is I want you to go, okay, now that I've popped this primal, what am I doing with it? I'm not just going to beat the Diva or the Orisa or whatever in front of me. Maybe I'll knock them back real quick, but I instantly sort of know where the supports are, where the Genji is. I want you, anytime that you have primal available, to sort of be thinking to yourself, okay, where am I going to go if I do pop this? What am I going to go do with it? Oh, if I pop this primal in the next team fight, it's going to be to mess with Genji's blade. I better mentally put a tack in where the Genji is and sort of mentally keep following him. He needs to be in my shuffle of the 6 heroes, the 5 heroes, the 4 heroes in total that I'm following on this map mentally, etc. Or, oh, I'm going to go try to take out the Zen. I better mentally put a tack in where the Zen is as I'm doing other things so that I can, if my primal gets forced, I can go try to go deal with the Zen, etc. So those are sort of the things that I'd say in terms of which one's going to get you the most bang for your buck. It's bubble usage, like it is. That's
Right.
how Winston works. So that's where I'd go first. But if you feel like you're still needing to focus on engagement timings, that's good, and I'm totally fine with you continuing to focus on engagement timings. What you might want to do though is go, hey, I'm going to ease up a little bit on thinking about my engagement timings so actively to think about my bubble timing pretty actively, and then I'm going to look back after a couple games and see, are my engagement timings getting a little worse or a lot worse? Because if they're only falling off a little bit, that's okay. If they're falling off, to where they were before or to only a little better than where they were before, you need to drop
Yeah.
bubble timing and go back to engagement timing. But you sort of need to get it to a point where it's like 85, 95%, 85 to 90% locked in, and then you can sort of think a little bit about it while putting most of your focus on the next thing you're working on. Sound good?
Sounds great. Yep.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Okay. Any other questions about that, about anything?
Uh, no, I mean, that's pretty much what I got to work on now. I really
Okay.
appreciate it. Thank
Of
you.
course, of course. Good stuff, man. If you have any questions, just let me know. Otherwise, I look forward to the next session, or, be that with you or with your wife.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, one last question. I just
Shoot.
clicked on me.
Yep.
Is there anybody like any good Winston like primal players that you would recommend me to like watch?
When I was, let's see, I don't know how much who's playing him anymore because I'm not watching a ton of the pro streamers anymore. Like I'll
Yeah,
watch here some and there. When I was really getting into it and really going, okay, let me make sure I've got the mechanics perfect. Muma was probably the easiest person to
Muma.
learn from. I don't know how much he's doing anymore of playing Winston or,
I
like,
think he has a unranked to GM with Winston.
okay,
Uh,
I'm sure
pretty recent.
then I'm sure he treated Primal Rage as his win condition because he usually does, or at least he used to. And he'll literally go, what's my win condition for this fight? I guess it's to get Primal and eliminate both supports. And he'll pretty regularly do that. So you'll get lots of clips to see exactly what his timing is on doing it, etc. And if you really need
Cool.
the timing, I can hop in a custom game and show you. But it's there, and you have it forever if you go look at a Muma stream, etc.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Cool,
Thank
cool.
you.
Good luck, man.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Peace.